As I said, it is time for the Stoner Jesus Show political segment. Sometimes the silliness must end. You must fight for what you think is right, for freedom, and for marijuana legalization. Pothead, Punditry, episode 28.
Our nation stands on the brink. Every day brings new federal encroachments that take our freedoms and strangle our will. There comes a time when the silliness must take a back seat to the serious issues of the day. The time is now. It's time to fight back and reclaim the freedom that is rightfully ours. It is time to discuss the serious issues of the day with Stoner Jesus' Pothead Punditry.
Indeed, welcome to Pothead Punditry, episode 28. Everybody listening out there on Spreaker, Facebook, stonerjesus.net, or later on podcast on stonerjesus.net or iTunes, or any other MP3 device, or on the Spreaker radio, iPhone, and Android apps, or on YouTube, or YouTube channel, which there's a link to, at stonerjesus.net, where we put these political segments so they can be shared far and wide. Of course, all your social networks, especially Facebook and Twitter, which are the two largest. It is time for Pothead Punditry. The first thing we're going to talk about tonight, as we normally talk about, is Ron Paul. We have endorsed Ron Paul for president. I hope he gets the Republican nomination. If he does not, we'll probably have to go with Gary Johnson and fight for him. As I've said many times before, I'm not going to vote for corporate puppets like Obama or Romney, or that weird fucker Santorum, or that little troll Newt Gingrich. Not vote for any of those. Anyway, Ron Paul, if you listen to the show, you know there's been a lot of regularity going on in Maine, Nevada. Over 1,000 dead people voted in South Carolina in the primary. The fucking Republican Party is scared to death of Ron Paul, and they don't want him to win the nomination. So they're engaging in shenanigans, as they continue to do, in the Washington primary tonight, which there's no news on yet, so I imagine the polls are still open there. This is from Infowars.com. Paul campaign, GOP insiders engaging in shenanigans to prevent congressman winning. You can look at where they said that there's going to be, they're not going to let him win, basically. He should run third party. That's what I firmly believe, because they're not going to give him the Republican nomination. But be that as it may. The article says the Ron Paul 2012 campaign has officially complained of, quote, substantial irregularities, end quote, in the appointment of delegates in a major Washington county. In a letter to GOP leaders in Washington, the Paul campaign says it is suspicious of the way that precinct committee officers, otherwise known as PCOs, are being selected in King County, which covers 2,600 precincts. The Paul campaign suggested King County GOP chairwoman Lori Sotelo may have engaged in quote-unquote shenanigans and may have violated party rules in appointing PCOs after the December deadline, claims that Sotelo denies. Campaign lawyer David Warrington intimates that the GOP establishment may be attempting to prevent Paul from winning the caucuses by appointing anti-Paul activists as PCOs. Continuing, Warrington's letter also notes that the King County GOP has refused to make the list of the appointed PCOs public. PCOs have the responsibility of running caucuses and as such are automatically appointed as delegates to the county and legislative district conventions, which in turn make decisions on the allocation of Washington's 43 delegates to the Republican National Convention. Of course, is where the party picks their Republican nominee. Their nominee. Paul's national campaign chairman, Jesse Benton, added that he was not surprised by the shenanigans happening inside the King County Republican establishment, adding that all options are on the table including the nuclear option of disallowing King County PCOs to be seated at the National Convention. Bottom line is they're not going to let Ron Paul win. They're just not. He's not going to win the Republican nomination. We have to, we have to realize that. I think he should run third party as independent. He can raise enough money and split the vote, and hopefully that way become president. And end the corporate rule of this country once and for all. Well, maybe not once and for all, but for now. I don't know. Sometimes it's easy to get despondent because it just doesn't look like it's going to happen. And there are other people out there. There's his son, Rand Paul, who's a senator in my home state of Kentucky. There is Gary Johnson, of course, who's probably going to get the Libertarian nomination for president. But it's unlikely he'll get 1 million votes, if much more than that. Maybe less. I don't know, man. Corporations, they own Obama, and they own Romney. They've owned Gingrich for a long fucking time. Santorum, I'm sure they got a lot of sway with him. He's a little loony. But, Rebecca Monnier, I think that's how you say it, is in the chat room at Spreaker.com. Substar, what is up? We're talking our politics, our political segment, Pothead Punditery, episode 28. Continue. Conservative commentator Andrew Breitbart. He had a media empire online. Started out at thedrudgereport.com. He died suddenly, whenever it was, last week. The very day, a few days ago, the very day before he said he was going to release footage that would derail Barack Obama's 2012 re-election campaign. These people are saying it's still going to be released. Reportedly shows Obama from his Harvard days fraternizing with Bill Ayers and Bernadine Dorn, leading members of the Weather Underground terrorist group, which carried out a wave of bombings against the government targets in the 1970s. I know a lot of you out there are thinking, oh, that's bullshit. It's conspiracy theory. That's nuts. As I said before, that's what I used to think. I wouldn't even look into conspiracy theories. But it's weird that the 43-year-old man, who they're now saying has heart trouble, but then they pronounced he died of natural causes 2 hours after his death. Now the coroner's going back and saying, oh, no, we got to check into this. Because people are like, what the fuck's with that? It took you 6 days to tell us what Whitney Houston died of, but it took this dude 2 hours. The body wasn't even cold yet. And he knew he died of natural causes at 43 years old. This is so fucking far-fetched that the government and the big corporations and the big banks take out people they don't like. People who are set to derail their plans. I'm not saying you have to believe in this shit. I'm not saying that well, it's hard to believe. Let's put it that way. The 43-year-old man died of natural causes. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Of course it does. I've known people younger than 43 to die of heart attacks. The coincidence is incredible, as many are. And what if this footage does show Obama fraternizing with terrorists? How many people will care? Terrorists can easily become freedom fighters if you spin it the right way. Anyway, that was Andrew Breitbart. You can go look that up. On that story was from Infowars.com. See what you think. This story is very popular today, and we like to... what the hell is that? Some annoying fucking pop-up thingy. From Hawaii. We like to point out sometimes a lot of the freedom-killing government agencies that exist in this country, which include the TSA. See, all we need a TSA to stop the terrorists. You're more likely to get killed by a household appliance than to get killed by a terrorist. You're more likely to get killed by a deer or a bee sting in this country than a terrorist. So don't go on to me about terrorists. Give these fucking perverts the right to grope people. This is from KSDK.com, Hawaii. A Hawaiian mom says she was humiliated when asked to prove her breast pump was real at an airport. The woman says she was flagged for additional screening at the I'm saying that wrong, airport Wednesday because of her electric breastfeeding pump. She claims agents told her she couldn't take the pump on the plane because the bottles in her carry-on were empty. I asked him if there was a private place I could pump, and he said no, you can go in the women's bathroom. At least they let her go in the bathroom. She continues, I had to stand in front of the mirrors and the sink and pump my breast in front of every tourist that walked into that bathroom. I was embarrassed and humiliated and then angry that I was treated this way. When the bottles were full, she was allowed back on the plane, the article continues. The TSA is apologizing, saying the agent made a mistake. I see about these fucking agents, man. There's no fucking background checks to speak of. Any fucking pervert who wants to feel up chicks can do so. Or satisfy whatever fucking creepy fetish they have. I mean, go look up Miss Dallas or Miss Texas for the Miss USA pageant or whatever. Getting stopped and groped at a Dallas Fort Worth airport security. Is that a coincidence? Is she a terrorist? Or is she just hot and you want to grab her boobies? The article continues, the agency released a statement saying in part, we accept responsibility for the apparent misunderstanding and any inconvenience and embarrassment this incident may have caused her. Oh, well. It's okay then. You're fine. You're golden, dude. Way to go. Fremensler in the chat room said, no worries, our government will be in our houses protecting us from those dangerous appliances. Indeed. Government will be everywhere. They're in most places. We've talked on this segment before about the surveillance techniques they're going to be using. The street lights, they can hear your conversations. They're rolling out in places like Pittsburgh and Charlotte. And so you won't even know they're there. You won't even know they're there. But they will be able to pick up your conversation if you're walking down the street and record it somewhere. Along, of course, with video. Romney has won the Washington caucus. Lame. Incredibly fucking lame. CNN is projecting. With more than 60% of the vote in, Romney has 37%, while Texas Representative Ron Paul and former Senator Rick Santorum were tied for second with 24%. They were trailed by former House Speaker Newt Gingrich at 11%. Of course, we just put earlier, there's King County, very large county in Washington, which I believe holds Seattle. I may be wrong on that. You can look it up. I don't know. Super Tuesday is coming up where 10 states and primaries hold caucuses. We'll see then if Romney's going to pull ahead or if they're going to go all the way to the GOP convention. This summer, there's a delegate count so far, also on CNN.com. Mitt Romney has 182. Rick Santorum has 79. Oh, God. Newt Gingrich, a fucking troll, is 39. And Ron Paul, the only real person in the race, 38. Fucking sickening is that. I guess that's a good way to wrap up Pothead Punditry, episode number 28. As I said, go to the YouTube channel, man. There's a link at stonerjesus.net. Spread these videos around. Subscribe. Be awesome.